Happy New Year and welcome to this special episode of Lehtonen's Home Theater, where today I will be covering my top 10 favorite movies of 2017. I saw a total of 51 movies in the theater in 2017, and for me these were my top 10 favorites. Now, I didn't see every movie that came out, and so I know there are a lot of movies that made people's best of lists that are not on my own list, but here are my absolute favorites of 2017. Number 10. A Cure for Wellness. Director Gore Verbinski has been the director of such films as The Ring and the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and also won an Oscar for directing the animated film Rango with Johnny Depp, but kind of went downhill with the Johnny Depp Lone Ranger movie, and the box office performance of A Cure for Wellness didn't seem to make things any better for him. But this is one of those look at the film and not at the box office kinds of films. Even though this is a real WTF movie, there's still plenty of ambition, visual power, wonderful performances, and guts, and by guts I don't just mean gore, to make it worth being noticed. Number 9. Silence. This film from legendary director Martin Scorsese was a longtime passion project for him, with marvelous performances from Andrew Garfield, Adam Driver, and Liam Neeson. I'm glad that Scorsese was able to make it. It has been called one of his best films, and it just might be. It is also the third of his films to deal with religious figures struggling with the challenges of faith. This film saw Scorsese take a break from his collaborations with Leonardo DiCaprio, and while watching it I forgot that Andrew Garfield had once played Spider-Man. After seeing this and Hacksaw Ridge, I really think he is becoming that good an actor. Number 8 is Blade Runner 2049. Usually when we get a sequel to a movie from the 70s or 80s, it's because Hollywood doesn't want to take chances on original screenplays that they have read and turned down, and instead just want to do a sequel to an old movie because they know that it has a better chance of getting people to come to the theater, and then those people see that sequel and prefer to pretend that it never happened after the events of the original. But Blade Runner 2049 is one of those rare exceptions. This is a beautifully made film with top-notch performances from everyone, including Harrison Ford and Ryan Gosling, and it is done well enough that I consider it to be at least as good as the original Blade Runner. Number 7 is The Shape of Water. Director Guillermo del Toro is, I think, a real true original as a filmmaker, and this fairy tale shows it. It is an odd, startling, and beautiful piece of art. Number 6 is Star Wars The Last Jedi. While The Force Awakens is still the best of the recent 3 Star Wars films for me, I still enjoyed this one more than Rogue One, and I look forward to director Rian Johnson's planned Star Wars trilogy because I liked what he did with this installment. Number 5. Annabelle Creation. I love horror movies, and anyone who has seen the short films that I have directed can probably tell because most of them are horror. As a horror fan, I love the Conjuring franchise. I do think the first Annabelle movie has its moments, even though it was really no match for either of the Conjuring ones. But Annabelle Creation is definitely one of the best entries in the Conjuring franchise and one of the better horror movies I've seen. Number 4. SpiderMan Homecoming. I'm so happy that Marvel was able to work the Spider-Man character into their cinematic universe franchise, and that Tom Holland was cast to play the character. He's the best Spider-Man and Peter Parker since Tobey Maguire, and Michael Keaton is one awesome villain. This film is one of the best entries in the Marvel Cinematic Universe for me, and the best Spider-Man movie since Spider-Man 2. Number 3. Beauty and the Beast. I saw this movie in the exact same theater where I had seen the original animated film back in 1991 when I was 6 years old. And now as an adult, seeing it and the songs played out in live action made me have such a good time that I felt like I was 6 again, and I enjoyed that. I felt that with Dreamgirls director Bill Condon directing this movie, that it was going to be a treat, and it was, and is. Number 2 for me is It. 2 of my favorite movies are The Shining and Misery, and what they both have in common is that they were adapted from Stephen King books like this one is, and like those 2 films, this one is incredibly well made and well acted, with the scariest clown in recent cinema history. Before I reveal my number 1 favorite film of 2017, some of my other favorites I must mention are Wonder Woman, Alien Covenant, All the Money in the World, and M. Night Shyamalan's Split. Now, just because I didn't select them from my top 10 does not mean that they are not good films. They are all very good films. And my 3 least favorite movies of 2017 I would have to say were Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, The Dark Tower, and especially The Snowman. And now, my number one favorite film of 2017, I have to say, was Dunkirk. People get really excited every time director Christopher Nolan puts out a new movie because it is an event, whether it is Inception or Interstellar or any of the Dark Knight movies. And this recent film from Nolan was certainly an event, just like the true story it tells, of the World War II event known as the Dunkirk evacuation or the Miracle of Dunkirk, where in 1940 ordinary civilians got in their own personal boats and traveled to the beaches and harbor of Dunkirk in the north of France to help rescue 400,000 soldiers from being eliminated by the Germans. And that's it. Those are my favorite movies of 2017. Thank you so much for watching, and there will be more because Lehtonen's Home Theater is always showing.